I want to bring up our next guest. Gerardo is the creator of LookIntoHex. Welcome.
Nice, man.
Take it away.
I love your site. I love sending people to your site, dude.
Thank you, man. Like,
Great site.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm a little just kind of struck right now. I think it's my first time talking to you face to face, but
Nice,
I want to thank you for creating Hex, for the best community in the world that you've built. I know you probably get this a lot, especially during this conference, but you've changed my life and that of my friends, my family, because luckily, you know, I got them in early, and it's just, you continue just to amaze and impress.
You're lucky we're not in person, bro, because I've seen people get the shakes. Like, they're like,
Yeah,
it's crazy, you know? It's funny.
I had to get the heart rate down a little bit before I talk here right now, but I mean,
it's all good, bro.
Yeah, just I appreciate you sending people to the site too. I mean, it just,
your site's great.
Thank you.
Let me tell everybody about his site real quick. Gerardo here made LookIntoHex, and it's really cool because it's the only place I know of in the world that shows the Bitcoin, the Ethereum, and the Hex price from their first day of like being in existence until now. And it just shows you that we're doing the same things Bitcoin and Ethereum did, but just on a higher inclination. So we're just doing it faster. It's not unprecedented. We're doing very similar things, but we're just doing it quicker.
Precisely.
And there's no better way to see, no better place to see that than Gerardo's site, lookintohex.com.
Thank you. Yeah, I think maybe because you've been shilling that specific chart so much, it's become my favorite chart, or maybe because people say that it's a great onboarding tool because it compares Hex to what people consider.
Which ones do you like? Right? Like, I'm not an expert on the site. Like, what are your favorite ones on there?
Hex versus ETH versus BTC, my favorite chart right now.
Right.
I used to like the regression rainbow a lot until it kind of broke a little bit on the downside. Right. But then again, it's like a trend line it has wiggle room, right? Especially if you're doing like weekly candles or just like it has wiggle room. So I don't want to say it's broken yet, but that's my favorite chart. I think the heat map's pretty cool. It looks at like the derivative, the 100 MA, and just like.
Huh. Okay. I don't think I've seen that one. You got a lot of stuff in there. It's neat. So where'd you learn how to do all this fancy quant technical kind of stuff?
Yeah. So I was always good at math. I think you can probably relate to that since early on.
Yeah.
And maybe not as good as you, because I didn't do logic. I didn't derive math from logic. I just did it like the normal way. But so I went to a university I got accepted under like civil engineering, switched to math, switched to engineering physics, switched to physics, dropped out, took all that knowledge with me, and just doing my part in this community. Like Steph's talk earlier about being a DAO, basically. I love that analogy because I mean, we're each doing our part, you know?
Right. For sure.
Yeah.
You guys are all of the content, all of the onboarding, all of the websites, like you guys kill. Like the Hex community is absolutely amazing. Very cool.
That'll be even more emphasized once we get more stakers than you have followers, because that's when we know that it's the rest of the community more so than you.
Good point. That's a good point. See, you've got these metrics I've never looked at before. I never even knew that ratio existed. It's very cool.
So I mean, I have a few like fun, I guess, technical questions. Like,
good.
The PLSX PLS pair, I think it's important when that comes, if that appear, or if that's created before or after the bot comes in to harvest. Because
ask the question one more time.
Yeah, I kind of worded that funny. So I know the AMM bot is going to come and harvest all these pairs. What I'm wondering is if the PLSX/PLS pair will exist before or after that bot comes in harvest because of the buy and burn. And I think just that volume of the bot, I don't know if that will be included or not.
I have not thought of the issue. Well, first, okay. Buy and burn. This is a technical answer.
Take your time. Yeah.
So
made you think.
First of all, let's go into the original intention was to have a buy and burn be automated. It is impossible. And what we are left with is having no expectations. So there is an address that gets 0.07 of the 0.29. the original plan was for 0.06 of that to go to buy and burn. That can't be automated now. And since we can't have expectations of others, we can only see what that address does. Let's see what that address does. But we can't have any expectations. Thanks, security laws. It's a little bit crappy. Freedom. Yeah, or no freedom. And then that only applies on trades. It does not apply on liquidity adding. And so the harvesting occurs on other systems. Therefore, it wouldn't occur, the fee. And then the adding of that liquidity to the PulseX system also is not a trade, and therefore does not incur the fee. And so it's irrelevant at what point PulseX starts, before or after the harvest, because the fee is not incurred either way. I think that answers the question.
I think it does. Yeah, it does. And that's a little nuance I didn't know either, that LPing doesn't count as a volume here.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, this code, the code is like, it's actually this particular part of the code. It's not that hard. If you like math, you'd love this particular part of the code, because there's some equations that I look at them and my eyes glaze over, and I'm just like, what is this? It's all a bunch of Greek letters with slashes between them and square roots and stuff. Cool. But if you go on the Uniswap V2 white paper into the fee part, like all the stuff is there in regards to this.
Interesting.
So another little trick is that fee does not get issued to the fee2 address, which is what gets set to where the fee cut goes. It only pays out when liquidity is added or removed from a pool. And so if there's a pool that's incurred a lot of fees, but liquidity is never added or removed to it, that fee never actually gets paid out, which is interesting. Very interesting. But you could always force a payout by just adding and removing liquidity, like it's a public function anyone can do.
Interesting.
But you would actually need to have both sides of the pair. So in theory, you could like construct a pair that, there's no reason to like search for silly edge cases, but like in theory, you could make a pair that no one else in the world had, and then no one else in the world could add or pull liquidity, and then you never added or removed liquidity, and then like it got a free ride. But who would trade such a thing? It's like a silly mind game, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure your mind has to venture into all these edge cases that others.
Well, we'll get a lot deeper into that once we're there, right? Like I'm focused on other parts. Like I care about bridges more right now. I care about GoToHex.com more right now. I care about counting up people's totals for the sacrifice phase more. Those things matter to me more than the bot does right now.
Okay.
The bot is a little bit later.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I don't know how much more time I have here, but I prepared a few more questions. Like, are there any charts you want to see that don't exist yet for Hex?
I've always wanted to see like the guys that made the most money, like who absolutely slaughtered it, and it's all on chain, so we could know that, and then we can also, if you want to be mean, you could pull up a chart and be like, who absolutely bought the top and sold the bottom over and over again.
For sure.
You could do that too, because it's all on chain. So that would be kind of, I think that would be fun, and illuminating. Like, here, don't trade. Look, here's why. Buy and hold. Look, here's why. I think that would be really cool. What else? I think that's the best one for now.
Cool. Yeah, I have
in the future. In the future, you could have visualizations around LP performance, but like, I'd wait on that one.
I was gonna say I have this LookIntoHex.com chart /max ROI, where it doesn't do what you said, because it's not like direct on chain who made the most, but it does look at the max ROI just given the price performance before or after staking. It's slightly, I guess, I don't want to say misleading, but what the one after staking does is it multiplies your max ROI by the share rate in hex,
I mean, like
hearts per share, so that it gives you kind of an idea. And I remember,
I think it's a good idea.
I remember tweeting like the first time we crossed 10,000x after staking, and I think you tweeted back like, "Show me the proof," like on-chain proof. And like a day later, Kareem dropped like a link to someone like. So it's
right.
I think it's pretty close to tell you.
Well, I care about that.
Like
I want to use that for marketing too. Like, show me the guy that murdered it, and I'm like, look, that guy. It helps a lot because looking at because there's some people that murdered it harder because they stake longer, and then there's some people that murdered it less hard because they didn't stake longer. So, like having a guy whose stake ended at just the right time, that the price also was high that day, and then you're like, that guy hit the lottery, sweet, Like it's with the numbers like these, like everyone's hitting a lottery. Like the price went up 1,000,000%. Everyone hit the lottery. Congrats.
Those are some cool graph ideas. I'll keep those in mind.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
No,
love your site.
Thanks for sharing it. And thanks for giving the time here to chat with us. And thank you, Maddie, for preparing this epic conference.
Oh, I got to fix the screen again.
And we've got
yay! It fixed itself. My lucky day.